Okay, we're talking about, what are we talking? Redundancy apartment. We're talking about the redundancy apartment. Brody, what is the redundancy apartment?
So I mentioned an infinite hotel, which was an interesting thing I saw on Vsauce, where he talked about how, say you had a hotel with an infinite number of rooms. Now, every single room is filled, but then if you wanted to add one person, like there was a person who showed up at the infinite hotel and they wanted a room, you could put them in. You just would have to have everyone shift down from the first room to the second room, and then the second room to the third room, and then go on infinitely so that each person shifted down all the way forever, and then the one person could take the empty room.
Why don't they just why don't they just join the last room?
Well, because every room is filled.
So then how do they move down if every room is filled? How do they move down to another room?
Well, because it's infinity.
Yeah, so then why can't you just put the new guy up in the new room?
Well, see, the thing is that's like adding 1 to infinity, and so on which side does the 1 go? Does the 1 go on the front side of infinity or the back side? Would you say, okay, so infinity is like roughly, 100 million, so if we added 1 to infinity, it would be 100 million and 1. Well, no, it's just infinity. And so if you have everyone shift down, there's an empty space because infinity has no limit, but also every room is filled.
Okay. Anyway, back to the redundancy apartment.
Yeah, the redundancy apartment is in fact not infinite, but it's a little more weird. Let's just say we add the infinite hotel and redundancy apartment idea and say that for rooms 1 through 60, there's an infinite set of different rooms. So for room 1, there's an infinite number of different rooms. And then for room 2, there's an infinite number of rooms and different people who live there or are just simply unoccupied with different arrangements of said furniture. Or maybe it's just simply uninhabitable because it's actually full of lava for some reason. Wait, yeah, so what would the limits of this apartment be?
I don't know. I mean, if you can have lava.
Well, maybe we should limit that because that might be problematic for the hotel or apartment complex owner.
Yeah, I'm thinking that it has to be, I don't know, maybe it has to be like within the rules of, like, because you know how apartment buildings have, like, some of them are like no pets, or some of them are like no this, or you can do that. So what if it's like only anything that's allowed by any apartment?
Right, so like no parking your car in the apartment.
Yeah. That would be impressive.
True.
Did you like drive in through the window? Did you?
Well, this is on the first floor if we're talking about specifically the first room, but yeah, if it was room 60 and you walk into your house and there's just a car in there.
And a bunch of shattered glass on the floor.
Oh my goodness. So now the question is, you would walk into your room and you would see a car in there and you'd be like, so is this my room with all the furniture in the same place but just a car in here? Or is this someone else's room with the same arrangement of furniture but also they decided to put their car in this room? That would be a great question. Or, I mean, would they not all blend together? Since it's your apartment room and it's still room number 1 or room number 60, whichever one we decide. It's still your room.
None of the numbers in between.
Yeah, I mean, so you could walk into room 37. I mean, probably the car would be parked or crashed into room 13, definitely, though, for obvious reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so you walk into room 13, and then, oh my goodness, there's so... Okay, let's start within the scope of what's allowed in apartments. So what would be like some of the borderline scariest things to walk into your redundancy apartment room and see within code?
some apartments allow pets, so I think it would probably just be like some bizarre pet.
You come
One.
home and there's just a toucan sitting in front of your door. Like, I don't remember buying a toucan.
A hyacinth macaw, a squirrel monkey, a capybara.
Are you sure they would allow those exotic pets specifically? Or when they say pets, they probably like, oh yeah, like people are gonna maybe have a bird and like a cat or a dog. And that's about it. But like, they're not gonna have like an anteater or an elephant. Depends on how big the apartment is.
I mean, not all apartments are in the United States. This is what you have to consider.
Right.
It could be any apartment anywhere in the world.
This could be a redundancy apartment in China.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They could have squirrel monkeys.
They
Are there
could.
squirrel monkeys in China? I don't know. Probably not. But
Our squirrel, yeah, look that up.
are
Our squirrel monkeys.
there squirrel monkeys
In Hawaii?
China?
Why did it say Hawaii? Colombia, Ecuador,
Oh,
French.
okay. They're in South America.
Ah. Oh, those look a lot like lemurs.
They do.
Oh, yeah, I've seen those guys. Yeah, they're really cute. But that'd be so funny. You just like walk into your apartment and then something just flies at your face and it's a squirrel monkey. Okay, so you walk into your apartment and there's just suddenly pets that aren't yours. Technically, you could see. Okay, now we're saying it's within code, within the code of our world, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now the thing is, this is infinite worlds, so we're saying multiverse. So there still could be things that are within code, but that no one would do normally. Like, why would you do that? Even though it's not breaking any rules, it's just like that's so weird. So you could have like all of your furniture just glued to the ceiling.
That would need some really strong glue.
Well, I guess not glued, but just
Mounted.
yeah. So you open. Okay, so just imagine this. So you open the door to your apartment, and then you see like the spiky ceiling or popcorn ceiling, whatever the apartment ceiling is, and then you see ceiling fan going right in front of you, and then you see the top of a door, which is like a foot up for you, which would be a foot down if it was a normal apartment.
What?
And then you see your
Oh yeah, because you've got the spot over the door.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the top of the door frame. And so oh my goodness, this would be so weird. So first off, you'd have to wear your shoes inside if you didn't want to like hurt your feet from the well, I don't know how sharp the plaster would be. In my house where we're recording right now, it has little spikes, and so it looks very unpleasant to walk on barefoot.
Probably wouldn't be that bad though.
Yeah, but to like sleep on, you'd wake up and you'd have like really spiky impressions on your body.
If you ever find me walking around on your ceiling, you know why.
What? Talking about hypothetical situations does not explain why you'd be walking on the ceiling.
Yeah, because I would be testing it out.
Oh. I thought you were saying that somehow my house was part of the redundancy apartment, and
No.
then that would be so odd though. Imagine if you lived with someone else in your apartment, but they lived on the ceiling and you lived on the floor.
Oh.
And so like you would have to like, if you try to get by someone, you'd probably just walk through like a curtain of their hair if they had long hair, or you'd like if they were really tall, you'd bump heads with them.
You're just lying in your bed and you just look up at the ceiling and there they are staring down at you.
That would be terrifying.
Yes.
Oh man, imagine if you didn't have a choice. Like they forced you to room with another person that lived above you, upside down to you. I'm trying to think, would there be any other inconveniences?
Well, okay, so you have to think about gravity, right? Would it be like halfway up the room the gravity goes up and halfway the gravity goes down?
No. So how it would work is there are things from the bottom side and there are things from the top side.
Mm-hmm.
Well, or vice versa, because it's relative. So basically, if you have a dresser on the bottom side, you can hold it up and you can push it against the ceiling and it's not going to stay there. It's still going to fall down.
Okay.
So things from their side stay on their side. Now, you have to think about things, what things defy gravity. So, oh my goodness. Imagine, so let's imagine for a second that we live on the top floor and the person below us, or the top side, and the person on the bottom side is having a birthday party and they love balloons. And so they fill up a bunch of helium balloons and they all go up to the ceiling, which is our floor. And so you walk into your room and there's just a bunch of balloons hanging upside down with their strings towards the ceiling. And so you kick them and they like go down a little bit and then come back to the floor. Well, I mean, I guess that's like pretty normal, but it would be so weird because the strings would all be hanging towards the ceiling.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Yeah. See, my first thought was things like water. Like, what if they turn the shower on and all of the water just falls down, like, onto the other person? But I guess if it's water from the top side, it would stay on the top.
Yeah. Now, let's try side people.
Oh, dear heavens.
So, you have people living on all four sides of a room now. You have ceiling, floor, and right and left wall.
Okay.
So...
What do you do with the corners?
What do you mean, what do you do with the corners?
Well, because there comes a point when the top section is going to meet with the right section. And there's going to be overlap. And then how do you reconcile that?
Oh, so you'd be living, let's say you live on the right side and you walk over to one side of your room and there's the bottom side in front of you and that's the wall for you. And so you just have a bed laying straight up against your wall, and then you have dressers also lined up along the wall.
What?
Well, no, actually, they would be laying on the floor for you. You'd have dressers laying on the floor because you're the wall for the other person. Okay, so the person on the bottom has a bed against the wall. So here's said bed. And there's pillows and legs. Now, for the person on the wall, it's standing straight up against
Upside
the
down.
wall. Yeah. With the pillows down to the floor
Mm-hmm.
and the bottom of the bed straight up towards the ceiling. And then their dressers would be upright. For the bottom person, their dressers would be upright against the wall. And then for the person on the wall, the dresser would be laying with its drawers towards the ceiling. So it would be laying down on the floor.
Okay.
Yeah. So it would be weird to say the least. And we haven't even used all 6 walls. There's, well, actually, technically, you could have a person for each side of the room. Assuming, you know, if you have a square room, perfectly square, then it would have 6 sides. But you could have a whole house with just different angled walls and people living on each side of it. So imagine this. You have vaulted ceilings, and so you have, let's say that the house is square, but then you have vaulted ceilings. And so you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 sides. And so in the vaulted ceiling, you have one person on the left side of the vaulted ceiling and one person on the right side. And so when they meet, they're just at like angles to each other.
That'd be so weird.
So wait, if you had your bed up against the ridge of the house, then your bed would be at this weird angle and it wouldn't even meet the wall. Like the wall would be at such an odd... Oh, that would be so annoying. There wouldn't be perpendicular walls if you lived on the vaulted ceiling. Because there would be just a bunch of obtuse angles, assuming it's not like a super sharp angled roof. Which at that point, that would be annoying. If you had super acutely angled
Where it's
roofs.
like 3 degrees. 3-degree angles.
And then at that point, those people could... I wonder, could they almost live on the same plane? I guess it would just be like a slight incline for the other person.
Yeah.
So they could maybe put stuff there, or they could like walk up there. See, the thing is, for me, when I think of apartment, I still think of hotel. So I think of like the really kind of tacky, stingy carpet.
Interesting.
And so, of a cheap hotel. Nice hotels have nice carpets. But, so I'm imagining walking to your apartment, and instead of seeing, 6 walls with, drywall on left and right, and back and front, and on top you have just plaster ceiling and fans, but you just have carpet on all sides, on the interior, and there's furniture all over the place.
That would be so bad. Especially because if we do really lean into this hotel feeling, they always have such like 70s patterns on their carpets,
Yep.
but they would all be different.
And at different angles, it would be so bad.
Oh, golly.
And then, okay, even worse is if someone wanted natural light, they would have to put a window in your floor. So, say the person on the top, if they wanted a skylight, the person on the bottom would have just a window on the floor. And it would be looking out into sky. Wait, and so if you opened the top window, then you'd fall through and you'd fall that way forever.
But no, because it's on the bottom side, right? Because so say the top side wants a skylight.
Yeah.
So the skylight goes in the bottom side.
Right.
But because it's in the bottom side, wouldn't it have to go along with the bottom side's gravity? So wouldn't it just be a window to like concrete or dirt? And then you just can't have natural light. It's just an infinite closed-in box.
Oh my goodness.
That sounds like a prison, actually.
Yeah. Wait, so okay. So now we have to think beyond just the box of the room.
Oh my gosh.
So if the bottom side is the bottom side all the way down, so if you continue to tunnel downwards, it just continues to be the bottom side. And then the top side goes up infinitely and walls go side. Now what if you went diagonally? Where would the separation be? I guess maybe it would be at an angle from each corner of the square.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. So this would be so odd. So say you live in a normal world and you go into this building in China and then you walk into your room number 13 and then it feels so much more like dead inside, and there's like 5 other people living on the walls and the ceiling.
Monkeys.
Except for the squirrel monkeys, which aren't yours, by the way.
No, but they liven things up quite a bit.
Like things weren't live enough. And just to think, you walk into this box which has dirt all around it that just continues on forever, infinitely. Wow. Does not sound like a very pleasant place to dwell. It would be so weird to think about like gravity though. So say you guys are working together and you're trying to get someone onto your side. So someone's on the wall, and so they're standing perpendicular to your wall, and you walk up to your wall and they want to try to put you on their floor. You could go and lay on the floor by just standing up against the wall. But then they try to like pull you across their floor, and they're like lifting you up. And they're pulling you into the air. And then if you pulled someone to the other side of the room and then they let go, they would slide down their wall and fall on the bed, hopefully, if they were being picked up over the bed. Huh. And
that, or you just watch them rapidly slide across the floor and then they break their legs.
Oh no. Terrible rug burn, because each wall is made of rug and ceiling. And then also, if you were on the ceiling and you tried to pick someone up, it would be really funny if someone weighed the same amount. So like, you both try to do, like, pull each other down, or down to your floor. and you both just end up doing a pull-up, like bonking heads. And then you both let go at the same time and fall down to the floor. That would be hilarious. Now, I was thinking, instead of having like 5 other people in your room, you could also just have it like mirror. So like everything you do, say you go and walk to your left wall and put your hand on the left wall. Well, the person on the left wall will go to their left wall and put their hand there. And it will be the same on every side of the wall. And so now my question would be, would there be any way you could actually meet the person that is you? I don't think so, because it's mirrored.
Well, is it mirrored, or is it all going in the same direction? Like, if you have a square, right, is just everybody moving counterclockwise or moving clockwise? Like, do they all move the same direction at the same time around?
So let's assume that every floor and wall and ceiling is the same square. So they each have a door into the room. They each have the same walls. And so you open the door and walk into your room, and what you immediately see is 5 other people also walk in the door and do the same thing that you do. And so if you were to walk to the other side of the room, the person on the top would walk to the front side of your room. The person on your wall would... Where would they walk? I think they would also walk across the room. Oh, wait. I just realized the walls could be oriented any which direction.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so say there's the bottom floor. And then you're just going to turn the floor on its side. That would still be the same direction forward and backwards. Now, for the ones that are on the front and back walls, you would turn it forward to be on its side, and so its back would be the bottom and its front would be the top. So if you walked across the room, your front wall person would walk up, and your back wall person would walk down. Your side wall person would walk with you across the room, and left side, or right side and left side, would walk across the room with you. And then the top side person would walk across the room. I don't think there's any way you could meet anybody that way.
No. And also, like, if you have the floor and then you have the left wall, let's say the left wall is where the door is. That doesn't allow you to walk. The door in the left wall corresponds to the floor, not the left wall. Because you go in the door on the left wall and then you can walk across the floor. So then the floor would also have to have a door so that you can walk in on one of the walls. But then that wall would also have a door for walking on one of the other walls adjacent to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so weird.
So they would have to be oriented in such a way that you don't have, like say you have the back wall and the left wall and the right wall. And say, like, you can't have a door on the left wall that allows you to walk on the back wall and have a door on the right wall that allows you to walk on the back wall. Because then there's some surface where you're not able to walk on it. So you would have to have, the walls would have to be oriented in a particular way so that they're not, well, overly redundant.
Yeah. Wow, I hope we haven't just been talking about something that nobody can actually conceptualize in their mind.
Yeah, we're talking about something very visual without a visual medium.
Yeah.
So.
That's
But I mean,
tough.
we limited ourselves to one little doodle, and it didn't help me significantly.
But also
so.
hand motions.
That's true. We have used hand motions.
Yeah, that...
Hopefully you can understand it.
Okay, next idea, though. Redundancy furniture.
Oh my gosh.
And when we say redundancy, it really just means multiverse. There's just an infinite number of possibilities within code of the apartment that could be within said furniture. So
What?
You walk
the
into...
apartment is in the furniture?
No. Infinite. So, okay. Your furniture's in the apartment,
Mhm.
and what's in the furniture, say a fridge or a dresser, has to be up to code as well. You can't have a bucket of, you know, liquid oxygen. I don't think that they don't probably have specific rules for that, but I don't think liquid oxygen would be a very good thing to have just sitting in a dresser.
Okay.
I think it's pretty corrosive. Anyways, you walk into your house, everything's in the same place, but then you open your fridge and it's not your food.
That'd be so weird. Imagine you have allergies and you have to have like particular food that you can eat, and then you walk into your apartment and it's somebody else's fridge and all they have is like peanut butter and peanut butter cookies and peanut butter cookie dough and stuff made with peanut oil, and you're like, I'm gonna starve.
And if your peanut allergy is really bad, you're gonna say, I'm gonna die.
Yeah.
So then you...
Because it's not your apartment, there's no EpiPen. This is a serious problem.
Yeah. Then you close your fridge and open the fridge again. Or actually, no. You go out the apartment door, close the door, open the door again, and walk back in, and then go to the fridge, and now, new things. Wow.
But no EpiPen, and you've already been exposed to the peanuts, so you're still gonna die.
You really hope to find an EpiPen in your dresser drawer, or I guess your nightstand probably. So you keep going in and out of the door as, you know, whatever happens to you happens to you.
And as this is happening, your entire face is swelling up, and you're like unable to breathe. It's great. I don't actually know what happens when you have an allergic reaction to peanuts, but I think it's maybe along those lines.
Yeah. Anyways, not fun. So, I guess what I'm saying is we're not going to make a redundancy apartment probably in the future. That's probably a dumb idea.
Yeah.
There's too many possibilities.
Yeah.
It's really limitless. Yeah. Redundancy ideas. Well, yeah. Thank you for listening to this episode, which I've already lost count of how many we've done. So, and we're probably not going to post them in order anyways. Anything else to add, Sophia?
We'll see y'all next time.
Goodbye.
Bye.